For every scientist seeking a unified theory of physics and every philosopher seeking the root of existence, there was a fundamental question. What is the underlying architecture of the cosmos? What is the constant, unchangeable language that describes the star, the cell, and the self? That language, we suggest, is mathematics. Mathematics is not merely a human invention for measurement. It appears to be the discovery of the universe's operating system. It is the invisible, eternal scaffolding, the precise framework upon which all reality, the gravity that holds us, the light that guides us, the DNA that defines us, is meticulously constructed. If the universe has a creator, a prime mover, then math is unequivocally the code of creation. The pristine form, discovery versus invention. Our journey begins with the most ancient and compelling evidence of this code, sacred geometry. This is the mystical belief that certain geometric shapes, patterns, and proportions are the direct, recurring signatures of an intelligent, universal consciousness. These shapes are considered sacred because they are found in the blueprint of everything. They are the divine vocabulary of form. The key realization is that human minds across millennia did not invent these shapes, they discovered them in nature, suggesting an external objective truth. The most recognized of these templates is the flower of life, Flos Vitae. This ancient symbol, composed of 19 overlapping, equally sized circles, is far more than a decorative pattern. It is a universal template found etched into the foundations of human history. From the Temple of Osiris in Egypt and the ancient Jewish Kabbalah to Leonardo da Vinci's 15th century studies, its presence across disparate cultures, separated by geography and time, strongly suggests these patterns were not invented but discovered, implying an external, fundamental truth. The Platonic solids, the code of matter. When dissected, the flower of life contains every other geometric form, crucially including the 5 Platonic solids, the tetrahedron, hexahedron, cube, octahedron, dodecahedron, and icosahedron. These are the only 5 polyhedra whose faces are identical regular polygons with the same number of faces meeting at each vertex. Plato argued that these 5 shapes were the basic, irreducible building blocks of the physical world, each corresponding to an element. Tetrahedron, fire, sharp and energetic. Hexahedron, cube, earth, stable, fixed. Octahedron, air, thin, subtle. Icosahedron, water, flowing, fluid. Dodecahedron, the cosmos or aether, the containing force. The flower of life is therefore the blueprint of all existence, showing how all life and structure originated from a single sphere, symbolizing the seed of creation. It is the geometric template for the stable distribution of energy and matter throughout the cosmos, proving that complexity is merely a variation on a fundamental simple pattern. The universe is not chaotic. It is exquisitely ordered, built upon the pristine foundation of geometry. Part 2. The Golden Ratio and the Law of Growth. If the flower of life is the blueprint, then the golden ratio, phi, is the law of growth and beauty. This number, approximately 1.61803399, etc., is irrational, meaning its decimal points extend infinitely, yet its proportion is perfectly defined. It describes a relationship where the ratio of the whole segment to the larger section is identical to the ratio of the larger section to the smaller section. A over B equals A plus B over A equals phi. The aesthetic mandate of phi. Phi is the proportion of universal perfection, defining the most efficient and aesthetically pleasing distribution of space and energy. Ancient architects were deeply familiar with the principles of phi. It is embedded in the layout and proportions of the Great Pyramid of Giza. The slant height divided by half the base perimeter yields phi, and the architectural harmony of the Parthenon in Athens. These structures achieved their timeless appeal not by accident, but by adhering to this specific mathematical code. Renaissance masters, particularly Leonardo da Vinci, utilized phi in their artwork, most notably in the composition of the Vitruvian Man and the composition of the body in the Last Supper. They recognized it as the ideal human and natural proportion. The fractal nature of Fibonacci. The true majesty of phi, however, lies in its omnipresence in nature, linked inextricably to the Fibonacci sequence 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21. This sequence, where each number is the sum of the two preceding numbers, is a pure mathematical law of growth. Critically, as the numbers grow, the ratio between consecutive numbers converges toward phi. This relationship generates the Fibonacci spiral, the cosmic pattern of expansion, a specific type of logarithmic spiral. This spiral is the law of least effort in biology, the most efficient way to maximize growth while conserving energy. Look anywhere in the biological world, and you will find this code in action. The spiral arrangement of seeds in a sunflower head, often counted in Fibonacci numbers like 34 and 55. The number and spiral direction of the scales on a pineapple and the bumps on a cauliflower, Romanesco broccoli. The logarithmic curve of the nautilus shell, which grows exponentially without changing its fundamental shape. The branching patterns of trees and blood vessels, a process known as dichotomous branching, often adhering to Fibonacci proportions. On the macro scale, the spiral arms of nearly all spiral galaxies followed this same logarithmic curve. The entire universe is utilizing the same mathematical algorithm for expansion and organization. The constant, flawless recurrence of phi across every domain of creation powerfully suggests that this is not a coincidence, but a universal principle of design, a signature of the Creator hardwired into the genetic code of reality.
Part 3. Music, Vibration, and the Cosmic Orchestra. If geometry is the blueprint and phi is the law of growth, then music is the audible, vibrational expression of the mathematical code. The profound effect of music on human consciousness is entirely dependent on specific, perfect whole number ratios. Pythagorean ratios in the music of the spheres. This discovery was first codified by Pythagoras over 2,500 years ago. By dividing a taut string at specific, mathematically precise points, he found that the most pleasing intervals, the octave, the fifth, and the fourth, corresponded precisely to the ratios 2:1, 3:2, and 4:3. This proved that harmony is not subjective, but an objective mathematical phenomenon. This established the foundation of Western music theory, known as Pythagorean tuning. Pythagoras extended this finding to the cosmos in his concept of the music of the spheres. He hypothesized that the distances, orbital speeds, and sizes of the planets and celestial bodies corresponded to specific musical ratios, producing a sublime, inaudible cosmic chord. This ancient mystical idea finds startling resonance in modern string theory, which suggests that fundamental particles are not points, but minute, vibrating strands of energy. The universe is literally an infinite symphony of vibrating strings. The mathematics of waveform is the link between matter and sound. Cymatics and the shaping force of frequency. This principle is visually demonstrated through cymatics, the study of visible sound and vibration. When specific pure frequencies, perfect mathematical ratios, are directed at particles on a plate, the particles spontaneously and instantly arrange themselves into complex, beautiful geometric patterns, circles, hexagons, and intricate mandalas. Cymatics shows that vibration is the dynamic force that translates the static mathematical code, geometry, into the physical, observable world. Sound, governed by number, literally structures reality. The perfect 3:2 ratio of the fifth, when visualized, generates stable, beautiful patterns, while dissonant, irrational frequencies produce chaotic, unstable forms. The mysticism of 432 Hz. This critical, esoteric piece of the puzzle is the frequency of 432 Hz. Historically, many civilizations tuned their music to this frequency, believing it harmonized with the natural resonance of the Earth. The Schumann resonance is often linked to this, and the human body. The argument is that modern Western music, typically tuned to 440 Hz, is dissonant with the natural mathematical harmony of the cosmos, causing subtle physical and psychological stress. 432 Hz, in contrast, aligns perfectly with the 8 Hz frequency, considered the brain's natural meditative state through perfect octave multiplication. The return to 432 Hz is seen as aligning human consciousness with the universal vibrational matrix defined by the perfect natural number code. The universe is a vast, mathematically governed acoustic chamber, and our existence is merely one frequency within its infinite chord. Part 4. Cosmic Codes, Pi, Fractals, and Quantum Information. Beyond phi and the whole numbers of music, the constant, boundless nature of the universe is defined by pi, the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter, approximately 3.14159. Like phi, pi is irrational, suggesting a boundless complexity within a finite boundary, a key characteristic of the infinite creator expressing itself within a measurable system. Pi and the great architectural encodings. The presence of pi in the cosmos is unavoidable, as circles and spheres dominate cosmic structure. As mentioned, pi is subtly encoded into the dimensions of the Great Pyramid of Giza. The perimeter divided by twice the height approximates pi, suggesting the builders used this constant not only for engineering, but for esoteric purposes, to geometrically fix the pyramid's position relative to the Earth and the solar system. Fractal geometry, the infinite code. A more modern yet equally mystical concept is fractal geometry, pioneered by Benoit Mandelbrot. Fractals are geometric patterns that are scale invariant, meaning they are self-similar across different sizes. If you zoom into a small part of a fractal, it looks exactly like the whole. Fractal geometry is the code that allows for infinite complexity from finite code. It explains the seemingly chaotic but organized structures in nature, the branching of river deltas, the structure of clouds, the branching of a lightning bolt, and the structure of our bronchial tubes. The universe is a massive, self-similar fractal structure, a cosmic prototype where the patterns of the microscale replicate the patterns of the macroscale. If the universe is a program, fractal geometry is the brilliant, compact algorithm that allows the simulators to generate infinite complexity without exhausting resources. The tetronics theory and the digital universe. A profound extension of the Platonic solids and fractal geometry is the theory of tetronics or tetrahedral geometry. The simplest stable geometric shape is the tetrahedron, a four-sided pyramid. Theorists suggest that all reality, at the quantum level, is composed of infinitely small, vibrating, interconnected tetrahedrons, the smallest, most stable pixel of reality. If this is true, the universe is built on a geometric rather than particle-based foundation. This concept leads directly to information theory in quantum physics. Scientists like John Archibald Wheeler propose that the universe is fundamentally a system of information, not matter. His maxim was it from bit, meaning every physical it, every particle, every field, derives its existence from a binary bit, information. In this view, our mathematical laws are simply the rules governing the flow of information in the cosmic computer. The code of creation is a sophisticated algorithm for processing information at the quantum level.
Part 5. Esoteric Architecture and the Code in Stone. Ancient civilizations did not merely appreciate the code of creation, they attempted to replicate and harness it through architecture. Sacred sites were intended to be functional mathematical models of the cosmos, designed to resonate with universal energies and align human consciousness with the spiritual laws of geometry. The alignment of the stargates. This understanding is evidenced by the precise astronomical calculations in their structures. Megalithic observatories, sites like Stonehenge and the Nabta Playa circles, were built based on precise astronomical calculations, utilizing geometry to encode the 18.6-year lunar cycle and the solar solstices. These structures function as massive fixed stone cosmic clocks, built to track celestial movements that were considered divine law. The Orion correlation. The alignment of the three Giza pyramids with the three stars of Orion's belt suggests a deliberate encoding of stellar positions relative to the Earth's precession cycle, requiring knowledge supposedly beyond the capabilities of the Fourth Dynasty. This was not about burial, it was about building a geometrical machine for stellar ascension. The Templar Code and Gothic architecture. Medieval master builders, often linked to esoteric traditions like the Knights Templar, utilized phi and specific geometric principles, often attributed to Kabbalistic or Gnostic knowledge, in the construction of monumental sites like the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. The placement of pillars, the height of the vaults, and the ratios of the stained glass windows were mathematically deliberate, designed to create an environment that maximized acoustic resonance and facilitated a transcendent spiritual state for the worshiper. They used mathematics to build a portal to the divine. The floor plans of many Gothic cathedrals are based on the Vesica Pisces, the intersection of two circles with the same radius, representing the feminine principle and the geometry of light. This sacred geometry was used to tune the interior space to specific Earth energy lines, ley lines, creating a localized field of energetic resonance. The mystery of the meter and ancient weights. A deep layer of conspiracy suggests that ancient knowledge was encoded into standard units of measurement. The original Egyptian royal cubit, a unit of length, is claimed by some theorists to be derived directly from the Earth's circumference and phi, suggesting a pre-existing, globally shared scientific understanding. Furthermore, the unit of time, the second, and its relationship to the modern meter are argued to be based on specific harmonic frequencies, suggesting that our most basic units of reality are mathematically tuned to the cosmos, a hidden legacy of the prime mover's code. Part 6. The Ultimate Code, Consciousness and Transcendence. The ultimate question remains: if mathematics is the code of creation, where does consciousness fit into the equation? The mathematical loophole for free will. The field of mathematical consciousness theory suggests that consciousness is not a biological accident, but an inherent property of the universe's structure, an inevitable outcome of the complex processing of information governed by these mathematical laws. The human brain, with its fractal-like neural network, is simply the most sophisticated known machine for accessing and interpreting this universal code. A radical theory suggests that the only irrational number that can logically exist within a structured system is the one that allows for creativity and free will. If the universe were built solely on rational numbers, it would be purely deterministic and predictable. The irrationality of phi and pi, which extend infinitely without repeating, may represent the mathematical loophole for the unpredictable, creative element of consciousness, the part of the code that allows for growth and evolution beyond pure determinism. Consciousness is the system's ability to iterate into the infinity of the irrational number. The vision of the divine geometry. The spiritual goal in this context is to become aware of the code. Meditation and esoteric practices can be seen as techniques for dampening the noise of the physical simulation and allowing the consciousness to perceive the underlying mathematical framework. When a person achieves deep meditative states, they often report feelings of universal unity and perception of geometric light forms, the direct vision of the flower of life, the phi spiral, and the fractal structure of the self. This leads to the concept of the Merkaba, the double tetrahedron or star tetrahedron. In esoteric teaching, this sacred geometric figure represents the light vehicle that can transport the spirit to higher dimensions. It is the geometric model of the human light body, demonstrating that the ultimate form of spiritual transcendence is achieved through mastering and embodying the sacred geometry of the universal code. The code of creation is not a secret guarded by ancient cults. It is the open-source blueprint of the cosmos, available to anyone who understands how to look. The constants of phi and pi, the ratios of music, and the geometry of the cell are the constant, recurring proof that we live in a universe built by a supreme intelligence. Our journey is to transcend the physical form, recognize the code within, and harmonize our personal frequency with the majestic and eternal music of the spheres. The ultimate truth is that we are not living in a mathematical universe. We are the mathematics, waiting to solve our own equation.